Hey everybody, welcome to the channel or welcome back to the channel. Hey, I got a device in that I want to talk about today. This is the ViWoods AI Paper reader. We're going to do a brief unboxing in all transparency. I've already unboxed it and set it up, but I'll let you know what it's like to unbox it. We'll go through that. And then I'm going to give you my impressions of it. And then there's some things that I want to talk about that you're probably not going to hear anywhere else, but you may be curious about. So stay tuned for that. All right, as I said, I have already unboxed this, but I will show you what the experience is like. It's got a pull tab on there. Real quick, the first thing that's on top is the case. It does come with a case. It's got a foam insert that I will set to the side. The case is very thin. It has no sides on it at all. It just has corner bumpers all the way around, so it's open on both sides. Let me go ahead and pour this out of the box. What else is in the box is you get a SIM card ejector tool, and you get a very nice USB-C to USB-C cable. This is a braided cable. I don't know if my camera is going to focus on that, but it's a very nice cable that comes with it. And then, of course, you get a quick start guide. But enough about all that. Let's go ahead and get into the device. So, comes in a nice plastic sleeve. It can be slid out of the sleeve without having to tear stuff open. And then for the device itself, it's a very premium feeling device. It's very light and it's also very thin. I just got the Palma 2 Pro in comparison, and I'll show this to you in a little while, but in comparison, this is much thinner than the Palma 2 Pro. It's even actually thinner than the Palma 2. I happen to have that on my desk at the moment. The Palma 2 is kind of beveled, but it is a little bit chunkier than this device. Along the side, you have some dedicated buttons. There's an AI dedicated button here. You can press and just launch the AI feature, or you can press and hold and speak to it. Then you've got volume up, volume down, which also function as page turn buttons. And then you've got the power button and fingerprint sensor here. Along the top, there's nothing. Along the left side, there is a SIM card slot, as it is cellular capable. And then on the bottom, you've got the USB-C port, and at least one of these is a microphone. It could be both microphones. I know that this device does not have a speaker, so that is certainly not a speaker grill there. When you look at the device when it's turned off, the screen seems to be a little bit recessed. It's flat from bezel to screen. You don't feel any kind of a rise or anything like that, but you do see a shadow along the edges. Where it looks like maybe there's a gap. And that's probably because they added a front light to this, which is very much required in my opinion. So I'm willing to put up with that gap to get that front light. On the back side, it's a very premium, I don't know if this is glass, I'm not really sure, or if it's some kind of a metal. Not really sure, but it's got the ViWoods logo embossed on the back. And then it says AI Paper Reader down here at the bottom. This is a tag that's removable. I have not removed the tag yet. But it's a very thin and light device. So for the case fits extremely tight. So I'm going to insert it at the bottom, and then I'm going to snap it in at the top, and it's a very, very tight fit. Once you get the case on, as I said, the sides are open. So you have access to all the buttons there, but it does have the bumper, I guess, protection in case you were to drop it. The most likely place for it to drop would be on a corner, and I think you get the protection on that. So as I mentioned, I do already have this set up, so I'm just going to go ahead and start showing you some of the device. I do not have the front light on right now. This is, it's very, it's got a very good high contrast to it. This is a Carta 1300 screen. It's very readable, and also when you turn the front light on, it gets extremely bright. I think out of the box it was set at about 5 or 6, which that's 6 right there. You can crank this thing up to 20, and that gets extremely bright. I don't know that I would ever use it at that brightness or not. However, last night I was in a completely dark room at night reading, and I was able to turn this down to about 1 or 2, and it was not intrusive on my wife. It was not very bright. It didn't light up the room like a cell phone might do. The lowest settings on these is very appropriate for a dark room. So let's go over specifications real quick. And I'm using an app on this phone that's called Knowledge Base. It comes as a widget on the home screen when you first open the device. And I'll explain the use of that in a little while. I really do like Knowledge Base, and I'll show you how I've been using it. But here are the specifications. So I mentioned it's a 6.13 inch Carta 1300 e-ink display. 300 PPI. It's got a 6 nanometer octa-core processor, 4 gigabytes of RAM, and then 128 gigabytes of ROM. It's got 4G connectivity via SIM card. It's got Wi-Fi 2.4 and 5.0 gigahertz and Bluetooth 5.0. And then it does have a G sensor for auto rotation. It's got a 2580 milliamp hour battery, which is, to me, it seems a little. I'm not very happy about that the battery is that small, but the device is extremely thin, so that's probably all it could fit in here. And then the dimensions are 159 millimeter by 80 by 6.7. From a software standpoint, it does come with Android 16, document formats supported PDF, EPUB, MOBI, AZW3, and EPUB 3. And then it'll also support image formats of PNG, JPEG, bitmap, and TIFF. AI supports ChatGPT 5, Gemini 2.5 Flash, and some others that I'll go into a little bit later. It does support third-party apps through the Google Play Store. It does have to be enabled. We'll talk about that as well. And then it's got 4 refresh modes that I'll show you as I get into the device as well. So let's just go ahead and look at those refresh modes. I'll swipe down from the top. We've got Best Display, which keeps it pretty well ghost-free. Of course, it's slower on the refresh. You wouldn't want to watch any kind of videos on that. You've got Fast Mode, Ultra Fast Mode, and then Quick Refresh. Quick Refresh, I found that if you're going to watch any kind of YouTube videos on here, which is not a great experience to be honest with you, Quick Refresh seems to work the best. You've also got a switch here for anti-ghosting removal that I am keeping on as well. So let's see what it looks like next to the Palma 2, the black and white version. As you can see, the screens look very similar. One has a black bezel, the other has a white, and I'm a firm believer that either the contrast or the matching color can, I guess, change your perception of the colors on here. To me, here in a live environment, they look extremely similar to me. If I were to take the white bezels out, for some reason, I think the white on this device makes that look a little bit brighter. But if I really just look at the screen, they look very similar. Now let's look at both with the front light on. I will turn the front light on both. Whoops, that's the volume. Might help to turn the actual front light on. I'll get them to a similar brightness, at least what it looks like to me in the room. I've got this one set on 5, this one set on 21. The numbers really are not going to match and they don't mean anything. But as you can see, both of them have a very nice front light. One of the things that they left off of the ViWoods device is a warm light. So on the Palma 2, I do have the ability to go and, add some warm light to that if I don't like the blue light. And, I think that's a huge benefit. And I really wish that ViWoods had added that to this device. All right, now let's compare it to the Palma 2 Pro. This is the Palma 2 Pro. It's got the Kaleido 3 screen. And if you know about color screens, Kaleido 3 screens on e-ink devices, it's got the same 300 PPI black and white layer. But to make the device color, it has a filter, a color filter that's on top of that black and white layer that gives it a darker appearance without a front light. So in my opinion, a Kaleido 3 screen always needs a little bit of backlight on at minimum, but this is how they look, and I keep calling it a backlight, it's a front light. But this is what they look like without the front light. So let's go ahead and turn that on. Give it just a little bit over here. And I say a little bit. The book sliders tend to be, there's less in the lower area, where it looks like with the ViWoods, they begin to increase the brightness pretty quickly. So comparing the two here, this has some warm light on it. Let me go ahead and take the warm light out. This is completely blue or completely cold. This is completely cold as well. So you can see on the Palma 2 Pro, it looks bluer, maybe even a little bit purplish, where I don't have that on the ViWoods. And as I start to add some warm light to this, maybe to give it a little bit of, a little bit a whiter look to it, I never can get to the same type of color that I've got over here. This is really good. I know that they don't have a warm light, but I think they do have a very good cold front light on this thing. It's a very pleasing color or appearance on that thing. Now, here's what I'll say about this. When you compare these side by side, you may look at one and say, I like this one better, or I like this one better. I'll tell you this, I've got both and I've been using both. When you take them independent of each other and you're not making any kind of comparison, at least I am very well pleased with both of these screens when I'm not looking at it side by side with another device. So stay tuned. We're going to get into the cellular capabilities and the can we use this thing as a smartphone in just a few minutes. But I wanted, it is first and foremost an e-reader, and I wanted to make sure that we talked about what it can do there. So to me, an e-reader is more than just books and PDFs. It's also news and sports and weather and any other, I guess, media that's mostly text-based. Installed email. I've got Flipboard, as you can see. I think I may have it over here. I've got Flipboard. I've got, news and sports apps. I've got Discord and Reddit and Facebook, and it handles all of that very well. You do have to enable the Google Play Store. It's not enabled by default, and it's a little bit of a process to do that. And here's what I would recommend when you go to enable the Google Play Store. Be sure and read every instruction that it gives you along the way, because if you skip anything, which I did, you may have a little bit of trouble getting it enabled, even after I followed the instructions. And I can't go back and reverse it and show you what those steps are. I apologize for that. But even after I did go through all the steps, I had to reboot the device a couple of times before it recognized that the device was, Play Protect enabled. So, you may want to take that into consideration once you're enabling the Google Play Store. So my reading app of choice is the Kindle app, and I know that that's probably not the most popular thing to use for reading, especially with all the controversy about how Amazon has locked down, the ability to, I guess, DRM your files there and give you the ability to actually own them. There's some discussion about them being, you're just renting them, and that you're at the, I guess, the discretion of Amazon as to whether they want to revoke a license that you have on that. I'm really not that concerned about it. I do use the Kindle app almost every device that I own. I do have a lot invested in books in the Kindle app, and I'm very pleased with the experience here. The reading is just what you would expect on a good e-reader. The text is good and clear. It's very crisp. As far as you get all the normal settings that you get with the Kindle app, it works like it does on just about any other device out there. The page turn buttons do work. I think I've got them set for this. Yeah, I do. So page up and page down work with the volume buttons just fine. So it's a very good experience with the Kindle app. I have not really tried any of the other apps that come installed on the device, and there are plenty of apps that are available. I'll show you that in just a second. So when you first get the device, there's a lot of apps installed that are reading specific apps. And most of these, and a lot of them I have uninstalled from the device, but I'll show you. ViWoods does have an app store that they've got a bunch of stuff that's on there. If you don't want to install the Google Play Store, you don't have to, as long as the apps that you're interested in are available in their app store. And they do have a pretty good selection, especially when it comes to reading apps, news apps, apps that go out and curate data from you, bring it in so that you can read it later. They've got Marvel Unlimited. They've got Microsoft Suite of OneNote and Outlook and To Do and all those things. So they do have a really good selection of apps available in their own app store. So how does it handle ePubs? Let's go into, I've got an ePub here. I have not read this book yet. I downloaded it some time ago and I still haven't read it. What you have the option of adjusting here is you can see the table of contents. And you can swipe in from the right side to, well, I guess I'm not going to be able to do that. I can see my reading progress with this. I can also hit this little eye icon, and this is where you change settings. I can make I can make it a little bit more bold or not bold. I can do line spacing, and it's very quick to respond. For example, it's on the middle line spacing there. Let me see if I can get it to where you can see some more text up there. When you change the line spacing, it is pretty quick to respond. And it's going to take me back to the beginning of another chapter. Let me just do this real quick. but it's pretty quick to respond. You can also make it more compact. You can make it left justified, centered, or justified or left justified, and you can change the margins as well. It's in this middle here. I don't notice that it makes a whole lot of differences when you change the margins, but the option is still there to do it. That one did make a big difference. It's set by default in the middle there. You can also change fonts. You can change image scale and font size by adjusting these settings here. I'll show you that. You can also, when you're in a book, you can use AI, and you can set your own AI commands by customizing, or you can just click on AI Assist. It's going to put that page into the AI system. I have GPT-5 is what is selected right now. It is a little slow as it's thinking about the page that you uploaded before it's going to give you a response. It's certainly not a speed demon to come back and give you whatever result it's going to give you. I did not give it any command on this. I just threw that into the GPT-5 to see what it came back with. All right, so it finally came back with a result. It's talking about, let me scroll down here. Oh my goodness, it gives you a brief analysis of the passage. It gives you an OCR transcription, what's happening, themes and ideas, style and technique, characterization, overall effects. So it really did a lot of analysis on one page of that book, so that's pretty cool. So let's look at a PDF. I've got a PDF of the Bible. I always throw that in there because it's 170 something megabytes, just to see how it handles going through a file like that. And here's my experience on PDF. There's not a whole lot you can do. Your controls are about the same as they were before. I can see my table of contents. I can see my progress. I can change some stuff. I cannot change font size. I can't reflow the text to make it fit the screen better. I can change zoom. I can say fit to screen width, but I'm still going to have the gap at the top and the bottom. I can make my font a little bit darker, bolder, and I can change the contrast. And then I can see page overviews. And really, I'm limited on what I can do to a PDF on here. The interesting thing is that I also cannot pinch to zoom. The only way to zoom, if I'm able to do it, and it's not going to allow me to do it on this particular one, but typically it's a software controller or slider to be able to zoom. So I talked earlier about this widget that's on the screen that's called Knowledge Base, and this is pretty cool. So when you go into it, you've got two different things. You've got AI notes, and this is where you can capture the results of your interaction with the AI on the device, whichever AI model you choose to use. I'm using GPT-5. And then you've also got visual notes, and this is where you can capture screenshots and those types of things, and you can build a knowledge base for that as well. What's really cool about the way that this works is that if I'm capturing screenshots like I did for the specs on this thing, I went to their website, to the ViWoods website, and I just captured 3 separate screenshots. And as long as you don't tell it to put it in a new file, it just assumes that you want to keep adding on to the file that you last used. And I think that's pretty cool because it allows you to build up like a little book of knowledge on a particular thing. And that's the way that I built this here. And I'll show you that in just a second. On the AI, when you're in the AI chatbot, let me get into this thing real quick. Let me give it a command. I'll be right back. Okay, because I have this super broad imagination, and I say that tongue in cheek, I ask it what you could typically ask Google. What is the price of eggs in China? Does anybody remember that old phrase? What has that got to do with the price of eggs in China? So that's what I ask it. It came back with this, long, some of it's in Chinese. But I can take this, and down here at the bottom, I can copy it, I can share it, I can rerun the results. Now, this particular last one, this button over here, is you can get this into your knowledge base. So I can click on this, and now I've got a knowledge base that I've started for the AI notes that's called Test 2, and it's going to tack that onto the end of Test 2 if I just hit save, or I can just say, let me save it somewhere else. And apparently I hit that wrong, and it's going to put it in here as well. So I can back this out and say I want a new one. Let's just call it new, save. And now when I go back to my knowledge base, I've got a new AI note that's called new, and it saved the results of that, which is pretty cool. You know, if you're doing research and you want to capture everything and put it in one place, you don't want to go off device or whatever to do that. That's pretty cool. Let me show you the way that the screen capture works. So if I'm in I have not set up the Kobo app, but let's just go ahead and do this. And if I want to capture this screen, there's a floating button here, and this button is called assistive touch. Not really sure why that's called assistive touch, but I can do a screen capture just by touching this. It does not capture the ball as part of the screen capture. I can then crop it, do whatever I want to. I'll just leave it like it is. I can hit save. I've got this button down here. I can hit save. It's going to add it to my ViWoods AI Paper review if I don't change that. Let me just also say that I want to call this one new. It's not going to be in the AI notes. It's going to be in the visual notes. So when I go back to that, into my knowledge base, and I go into visual notes, now I've got one called new over here that's got that screenshot on there. But you can continue to add pages to that and add pages to that if you're doing research, collecting web pages, and those types of things. Really cool functionality, I think. Also, a really cool feature is that you can take, for example, this specification list for the ViWoods AI Paper reader. You can run this through your AI assistant and get a summary on it. It's going to go in and read all the text. I'm going to ask for a brief summary. It's going to go in and read all the text on the screen, which there's not much there, so it's probably not going to give us a very good example of what this is capable of. But I will also say that anything that you throw into the AI like this is going to be slow to come back to you. This would probably take a full minute to return a response. Well, you saw how long it took there. And literally, it just read what was on the screen and it brought it back to us because there's really nothing to interpret there. But cool function there as well for the visual notes. All right, so enough of this reader talk. This thing has cellular capability. What can it do? Can it be used as a phone? Absolutely, it can be used as a phone. It does have a phone app on it. It does have a text messaging app on it as well. And I have actually used the phone. You'll see some of my recent phone calls here. My name is David Mulliner, in case you don't know. My wife is Candy, and she just texted me, in case you didn't hear that. But I've been able to have successful conversations with her. We have also had successful text messages. There's nothing private here, so I'll just let you read it. She just let me know that she was in the building safely, so she had to go to work today. But as you can see, we have had some successful text messaging here as well. And I apologize. I have a cold. I'm having trouble speaking today, but hope you don't mind that. So here's the caveat for using this as a phone. As I mentioned before, there's no speaker. So in order to use it, you need to use some Bluetooth earphones of your choice. I happen to have AirPods. They work fine with this, as any Bluetooth would. And you could certainly, hear and talk on those as well. The interesting thing is that if you get a phone call on here and you don't have your AirPods or whatever your other device of choice is, you really won't know that you got a phone call because you can't hear it. So you would need to either keep those in your ear or just be good with the fact that you're not going to know about the phone call until you come back to the device. Same thing with a text message. You're not going to know that until you come back to the device and just see it there. I was able to activate this on the AT&T network. I had a SIM card from an older iPhone that was already enabled. I was able to put it into the device and it immediately recognized it and began working. I know on my Palma 2 Pro, my other devices all my other cell phones in the house are on Xfinity, which runs on the Verizon network. The Palma 2 Pro was not able to function on the Xfinity or Verizon network, despite over an hour on the phone with Xfinity trying to work that out. They just said that it was not compatible with their network. I was able to put the AT&T SIM card into the Palma 2 Pro, and it worked fine as well. So I think it's just the network, or it's a Verizon issue. Also heard that T-Mobile, in addition to AT&T, is working well on that as well. So that brings up a question: can you use this as your cell phone? Well, yeah, you can. With the limitations I just mentioned, you could certainly use this as your cell phone if you're going to, walk around and keep an AirPod in your ear, or just be okay with the fact that you can't see with the calls when they come in, or text messages as well. You can do that. Some other things that you need to be aware of is that if you wanted to use Android Auto, for example, Android Auto does not come installed on this. I did download it from the Play Store and tried to enable it here, but when I got to my vehicle to try to get it working, it gave me a message saying that Android Auto has to be installed by your device manufacturer, and it was not done so on this device, and it's not compatible with this device. The other thing that you can't use it for, so besides Android Auto, although you can download Google Maps on this, this does not have GPS enabled, so you wouldn't be able to, to track your location. So it really couldn't be used as a map that you could use for navigation as well. What it does do is, at least in my particular case, I've got a Ford F-150. It's an older model. It's a 2018. And on my Ford F-150, when I plug this into USB, which I typically get Android Auto or Apple CarPlay if I've got my iPhone in there, this says that it's not compatible, that you can't use it with that USB-C connection. It will charge the device, but you also can't play audio from this device to the vehicle via the USB-C cable. However, you can connect it via Bluetooth, and audio works great for Bluetooth. So one other thing that it does not have, that if you wanted to use this for a cell phone, if you do any kind of payments, like if you pay via tap to pay with your phone, this does not have NFC enabled, or it does not have NFC ability at all. It doesn't have the chip built in. However, I found a workaround on that. As you know, I think I was talking about changing my channel name to E-Ink Hacker, just in jest. I'm not really going to do that, but you can install the Samsung Gear app, and you can pair a Samsung Galaxy Watch. I've got the Galaxy Watch 6 here that I've had for some time. I was able to pair this watch with the phone, or with the reader, and able to, this can control this, and this does have NFC enabled, and I can hold down my button here. It brings up Samsung Pay, and I can feel it tapping my arm telling me that it's ready to pay. I just need to go hold it near a reader, and I was able to set that up through this device. So you can get around the pay issue if you do have an Android watch, at least a Samsung watch. So what are my thoughts on the device? I really like it. It does have those limitations I mentioned. No speaker. I understand the device is thin. We took a hit on not being able to have a speaker, and probably took a hit on the size of the battery as well for that same reason. I think I would have preferred a little bit thicker device to get those two things built in. It is a fantastic e-reader. It's very thin and light. It's deceptively light. When you look at it, you think it's going to weigh more than it does. But it doesn't. It's very, easy to hold it. You're not going to get fatigued holding this thing if you're reading in bed. It's a really good experience for that. Having the ability to activate the full Google Play Store gives you just a world of possibilities on this app, or on this device, and really, makes it much more functional than if it did not have that. Having cellular capability, I'm really appreciative of ViWoods of not shutting down the ability to use a dialer app or a text messaging app. On the Palma 2 Pro, those things are disabled. I would think that was by Boox that they disabled that. But the fact that ViWoods made this still possible, I think was, a pretty cool decision on their part. The lack of a warm light is also, a questionable choice. But as I mentioned, the screen's very pleasant to look at. It would be nice to have, but I don't think it's necessary to have. So it all comes down to the question, would I recommend the device? Heck yeah, I would. Absolutely. $279 for all that you get here. It's a fantastic device, premium feel, premium look, light, thin. Allows you to make phone calls, allows you to, hook up to a cellular watch. You can make this thing your cell phone if you just wanted to go minimalistic and decide that you want distraction free, because you can't hear it if somebody calls you. You only get the distractions when you want to choose to go back and look at the distractions. So hats off to ViWoods. Great device here at $279. If you're in the market for a reader this size that has so much more capability, Yeah, go get you one. All right. Thanks everyone for watching the video. If you would consider liking and subscribing to the channel, it really helps us. We're going to hit 3,000 subscribers very soon, maybe even in the next day or so. So be on the lookout for that. And you can help just by hitting that subscribe button. And I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot and see you in the next video.